Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill, Guzman McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
Me? You got me?
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
Sure sounds good.
With a lineup of classic television shows you remember.
I remember years later.
And shows you can discover for the very first time.
What good stuff.
There he is.
To me?
You can watch MeTV Fresno on Xfinity 375 starting August 25th.
Are you gonna watch me or ain't you?
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
Hi, I'm John Malos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Friday morning. What a hot show we have for you today. We're talking about downtown Fresno and really all of Fresno when it comes to small business. And the question is the city of Fresno business friendly or not? In one poll that is out, we'll show you they're near at the bottom of the list. 436 MeTV option 11. We actually have 3 guests on the program today, 2 on the phone, 1 here in the studio. In addition to your phone calls. Back in a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
And welcome back to the program here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno on this Friday morning. I'm so glad you're here. We're talking about controversy here on the program today. So glad you're with us because you'll be able to call in here later in the program. We'll be here for the duration, and as the program unfolds, you'll see what happens. We'll have a couple of guests on the telephone today, one here in the studio talking about this very controversial issue about whether or not Fresno is a business-friendly city or not. You know, today's program, by the way, is sponsored by Chuck McGill. That would be McGill, Guzman McGill. He's been an attorney in this area for the better part of 25 years, and we certainly appreciate his business here at Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Time to remind you, as we do every day, you're watching us live on Comcast Channel 375 now here each and every Monday through Friday. And of course, that's on cable if you have an antenna that you purchased here at Ventura TV, and I know many of you have, or maybe you bought it somewhere else. Who knows? It doesn't matter. You're watching us on 43.6, 13.1, and 8.1 on your television dial. And then the replay comes later in the day at 2 o'clock, and you'd be surprised how many people tell me they watch the replay at 2 on 13.6 YouTube, and then 8 o'clock at night. That would be prime time. That would be on 4.6 Biz TV. The Twitter account has not changed, my friends. It is exactly the same, at John Malos, MeTV. And so controversy swirling around the city of Fresno, of course, and I got to point out, the reason being is because of a couple of op-ed pieces in the Fresno Bee recently, and then as you open up the Fresno Business Journal, it's right here, it's at the bottom of the fold. This is dated August the 14th, talking about the city of Fresno and whether or not it is business friendly. Well, let's go to the videotape and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about, my friends. It is downtown Fresno, where small businesses rule. You can find one on every corner, but the question is, if that existing business wants to expand or if that new business wants to come in, is the city willing to make it as easy as possible with little or any bureaucratic red tape? According to Holly Carter, the CEO of a Fresno public relations firm, she says no. In a stinging article that pointed the finger directly at City Hall, Carter told the Business Journal, our city's planning and permitting process has created unnecessary roadblocks to small business development and growth. However, Pete Weber, a retired corporate executive who now chairs the business-friendly Fresno Task Force, paints a much different picture. He says Carter is uninformed, and business-friendly Fresno, which was launched by the mayor 2 years ago, is working and cites hundreds of examples. The two went toe-to-toe in op-ed pieces in the Fresno Bee recently. Just last month, a full-blown article in the Business Journal. Carter is a small business owner herself who says she may run for city council, but the question is, can any one person make a difference on that council? Live on the telephone with us right now is Doug Vagim. He is a former Fresno County supervisor. He went toe-to-toe with the city and Mayor Ashley Swearingen on Measure W, the water issue, of course. He won many court battles. He knows what City Hall is all about. He knows how it runs, how it operates. Doug, are you there?
I'm here, John. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for being with us, Doug. I appreciate it. What do you make of the article? What do you make of the claims by Holly Carter?
Well, I think Holly has put her hands on the problem, and the fact that the city has become somewhat dysfunctional when it comes to permits and moving businesses who are in an application mode, who want to grow, who want to start from new on an empty area of land. I have received many calls from people who say that the city is basically stalling them, won't call them back, giving them all kinds of excuses for one reason or another why they can't give them a permit. And as far as what I've done a little research from those calls, it looks like the city is stuck in a paralysis by analysis of their new development standards, which they haven't adopted fully, and they're eager to try to upgrade or let's say update their development standards from what they call old 1960s versions to the new modern 21st century versions of development standards. And of course, that's the walkability, the viewing, the so-called curb attraction, and that type of stuff. And they're basically walking through a long trail by letting everyone just hang a fire and wither on the vine, and that's what we're faced with right now.
Well, in the article in the Business Journal, Doug, Holly Carter was quoted as saying, "Our city's planning and permitting process has created unnecessary roadblocks to small business development and growth." What do you think she meant by that?
Well, I think what she meant is what I've heard empirically. The people have phoned me up and said, "How come we can't get a permit? How come Fresno City is telling PG&E don't even give me a hookup to a power pole so I can start my construction, because the city does not want to give any ability for me to move forward before they get their permits on their side in order," which really means, without them saying it, is they don't have their development standards. They're new, modern, we got to make this town look perfect development standards. And frankly, what you have seen, and if you go to their website, they're trying to make the perfect development standard, and they're analyzing it over and over and over until they think they got it perfect. That's the example was the loss of the Smart and Final at Clinton and Blackstone, which was a development standard issue. The mayor wanted it one way with her new modern development standards. The developers had, with the history of the shopping concepts that they brought with Smart and Final, they wanted it their way, and so they said, "Well, we'll just go across the street. That now we have an empty Save Mart. We'll just go across the street." This is what you will have over and over again. The idea of Mr. Astone trying to do his development with that empty service station down there that has been sitting empty for quite a while is a pure example of this. I totally believe when you analyze what the city is doing here is that they don't have their development standards for downtown completed yet, and they have a brand new development standards they want to roll out for the downtown, and they haven't finalized them yet, and they're making everyone else just hold fire before they actually finish and adopt them, which they don't plan to do until about the end of the year. And we've had businesses now just give up and go away. Yeah. And it's not the way to run a city. The leadership in this town has basically just gone underground and say, "Wait for me, we'll be around to you, we'll call you back, don't call us." It's a standard operating procedure down there.
Yeah, Doug, as you take a look at the monitor on your television set, of course, at home, and take a look at some of the video they're going to roll here, we shot some new video of downtown Fulton Mall. I want to take a look at Fulton Mall right now. Of course, as you well know, it's going to be revamped. They're going to reopen this thing to cars. I believe construction is going to start later this year, prior to the first of the year. No, that's old video. I want to take a look at the new video that was shot yesterday by Marcus Borelli. I don't want to see that. I want to see the new downtown Fulton Mall. We got everything straight here? Okay. New video. Fulton Mall. Is that going to make a difference?
Well, are you talking about putting a road on Fulton Mall? Or what we're going to have is a small town road, just like going to any small town in our county or anywhere in the valley. Drive through any small town in the valley, Reedley, Selma, Sanger. They're all wonderful downtown little communities, but the fact of it is they're just a road through town that are competing with their shopping centers that they're adding. Frankly, the mall has a uniqueness to it. It's reached a point now where it actually can be a national historic monument. It was given that nod, and the city of Fresno has decided that they want to fight that and don't want to give it that moniker, which I believe could be a plus for Fresno. So we could do a lot of things to upgrade the downtown without tearing out the mall. I was not in favor of the mall, by the way, back in the 60s, but we have it. It's been there. It lasted that long. We meet the national standards now to be a national monument or a national marquee of their standards. Why don't we take advantage of that?
Yeah. I want to roll another piece of video of Fulton Mall, some new stuff that we shot yesterday, and I want to ask you directly, is opening up the mall going to help small business in that area? Is it going to help downtown in that area or not?
Well, parking has always been the issue down there, and they've got to figure that one out. Other communities have done that with their malls by making parking a lot easier than what the city of Fresno had done with their mall. The fact of it is, putting a road down there and adding 25 or 30 spaces in places of where you now have art and places to sit down like you're showing on your screen and that type of stuff, and bringing that back to what it was is something that is just going to be a dice roll. And I think they'll just be right back to another road going through a little community that was just like any small town, Fresno County, Fresno or San Joaquin Valley. It really, I don't think, will bring back what they intended to do.
Okay, quickly, I want to ask you about this organization that's called BFF. It's called Business Friendly Fresno. An organization created by Swearingen, the mayor, some 2 years ago. And according to Pete Weber, and he's going to be on the telephone with us later in the program, he claims that things have changed, that you can get your permits. If it's a simple project, boom, you've got it. You can get your permit over the counter within minutes. Has the atmosphere for business owners changed because of Business Friendly Fresno that was launched 2 years ago? Yes? No?
Well, like I said, John, I've received plenty of phone calls where people have said to me they cannot move forward. They're stalled. The people who were applying for their applications to go build on a piece of land that these folks have called me who own the land, who said they either want to sell the land or they want to rent the underlying land for somebody who wants to build a building, can't even get their permits to do so, and they're even telling PG&E, don't bring out any power to these people because we don't want to allow them to even begin the first stages of their construction.
But Doug, those are larger projects. I'm talking about something simple. If you want to, redecorate something on the outside of your house or your business, let's say, and that takes a small permit. They're saying that they're pushing those through rapidly, and Weber's got hundreds of examples citing that's true.
Well, John, you go to his website, which I have, and basically it's a front group for what the mayor used to tout about 30,000 jobs. This is another example of just trying to tout what they're doing in let's say, a window dressing. And in fact, most of the ones that they cite on their website are solar panels going on roofs. Now that's a real illustrative example of how to improve this town. Well, the fact of it is most of these folks that are just doing these simple little upgrades on their businesses can't even get permits. I have one fellow call me up who had a building designed brand new to have a patio where he could have an outdoor service, restaurant, alcohol, and by the way, cigar smoking and that type of stuff. It took the city a year and a half to give him his permits, and the thing was designed from scratch by the city permits to allow that that type of use to happen.
Well,
this
then,
is not
Doug,
the way to run a city.
Well, then, Doug, what's this business-friendly Fresno about? What's this organization about that was formed? Is this just a front? Is it public relations? What is it?
Window dressing, so the public is pablumized that they have a town that's progressively moving forward, when in fact they're not.
Okay, I want to play a soundbite for you from Mayor Ashley Swearingen talking about how she's not giving up on downtown Fresno, how she's not giving up on businesses down there. This is a recent speech that she gave regarding downtown Fresno. I want you to listen to this, Doug, and then comment on the other side.
It is for the rest of the community that I care so much about downtown. You can't say that you want a healthy, whole, vibrant city and not focus first on a city's downtown. You've probably seen this statement plastered on the windows on historic buildings in downtown Fresno that say, every great city has a great downtown. And I'm looking right now at a room full of people that if we can't retain talent like it's in this room, and if we can't attract more people like you, I guarantee you our economy is limited. You cannot ask me not to focus on downtown. That's like telling me I've got to give up on my hope for the city. That's like telling me that I have to walk away from this idea that we're going to get out from underneath the highest concentration of poverty of any other large city in the United States. You're asking me to give up on that? No way.
Doug, is this nothing more than lip service from the mayor, or what?
Well, first of all, she's been saying that since 2009, and we're still the highest poverty pocket rates in the nation, so that really hasn't panned out that good. And the fact that she's so concentrating on downtown, she's mesmerized herself, and she's so much in control, and her folks are so much in control, they won't let go of any control, so some of these folks who want to come down and actually do something are put off until the government, the big government controlling by the mayor and her clan are out of the way, and they won't get out of the way until they find a perfect solution. I've talked to plenty of folks that have moved into the downtown area, who built their businesses into existing older buildings, who had nothing but a horror story of getting in the building and actually getting permits. But once they're in, they're happy, they're making it work, and I want to see downtown work too. But you can't be so mesmerized and so much stuck with your mindset that you got to make it perfect, then nothing happens because you're stalling it. I don't think that's the right way to do it. Big government isn't the answer. It's the government having the ability to understand that people want to do something and get out of the way with some control, so you're not having a hodgepodge and you're having some theme and you're having some abilities to have a flow of traffic, and you're having the ability to not to hurt your neighbor with some kind of use that is incompatible and that type of stuff. But that's the limits that government ought to be involved with. These folks are going way beyond that, John. They're having their hands on it so much that they basically can't move. They're stalled. They're paralysis by analysis, and they just have empirically that is coming up over and over and over again. And that's why I believe Ms. Carter has written her article. She has found an example in this service station with Mr. Astone's project. It's a prime example of the city just being stalled in their own tracks by analyzing how much they love downtown. They don't want to let it go, and they want to make it perfect, when in fact you cannot be perfect.
Yeah. Hey, one final thought here, too, and I've had people tell me this, Doug, and then I'll let you go after this. That is, yeah, you may get the permit from the city, but then they make it extremely difficult to make improvements, whether you have an existing business or you want to move in, because it'll cost you thousands. It'll cost you much more to clear the way with City Hall with all these permits and whatnot, just to clear the way to improve your business or to move in. Is that true?
Well, first of all, they've eliminated a lot of the ability to have a quick turnaround, because they've only have one guy at the counter or one guy at the city who can come out and do that particular permit. And if that fellow or gal is on vacation or sick or ill or whatever, they can't get that done. You would think with a community of 500,000, they'd have more than one person who could come out and do that particular task with that particular permit. It's absolutely absurd. And the fact that we do have people who are anxious to do something and we're putting them on hold for months and even years is an absolute ridiculous problem that we've got ourselves into. And the only way out of that is for a brand new mindset down there that they cannot do what they're doing, and they've got to either reanalyze what they're doing and begin again and let people move forward or get out of the way.
Yeah. Boy, Doug, I sure appreciate your insight. Not too many people know City Hall like you do. I got to ask you here before you go there, are you thinking about a run for a mayor?
Oh, well, like I say, John, it's always a possibility, and you don't want to ever say no. But at this particular time, it's just good to sit back and analyze this and talk about these problems, because I believe there are solutions, and I think if we put our heads and our hands together, we can make this work.
Yeah, it's amazing. Another negative toward our city, of course, not business friendly. I'm going to show you one poll later in the show that shows, my goodness, the city of Fresno is way at the bottom of the list when it comes to business friendly cities. Doug, I thank you for your time very much. You know that, always.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
And I'll stay tuned. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Doug Vagim, former Fresno County Supervisor. He went toe-to-toe, head-to-head with City Hall and Mayor Ashley Swearingen on some water issues. We're going to be joined in just a moment here by Holly Carter. She owns a public relations firm here in the city of Fresno. And swirling controversy around this article, of course, in the Business Journal last month, August the 14th. Try to pick it up if you can. And, of course, the 2 op-ed pieces in the Fresno Bee. Holly Carter is up next here on Connect with Me in just a moment.
Hi, I'm John Wallace, and I'm here to talk about digital TV. Many people ask, what is DTV? Well, it's digital television. You can pay for it via cable or satellite, or you can get it free directly from broadcast TV stations. A few years ago, when I was anchoring the local news, over-the-air viewers could only get maybe 7 or 8 channels. Well, now that broadcast TV stations are digital, there are more channels than ever, and more are coming soon. Gone are the days of snowy and ghosting images. With broadcast DTV, all channels are crystal clear and they sound great. You can watch America's best classic TV shows. Get all the major networks, plus local and world news, sports, foreign language, shopping, music video, and movie channels absolutely free. When it comes to high definition, broadcast HD channels look better than paid TV services because broadcast stations don't compress their signals like cable and satellite, so their HD programming has higher resolution, more detail, and crisper pictures. Best of all, there are no monthly charges, ever, because broadcast DTV is a free service. How do you get the free broadcast DTV? Well, it's simple. If you have a newer digital TV or an older TV with a digital converter box, all you need is an antenna. Plug the antenna into your TV or converter box and then scan for channels. You may have to rotate your antenna just slightly to get the most channels. For best results, I recommend using a new aesthetically pleasing outdoor antenna. Just set up the antenna, scan, and watch. Affordable antenna kits are available as low as $35 and can be found on our website. You concerned about installing a new antenna? We can recommend a professional installer who will come to your home and get you completely set up for a reasonable fee. It's that simple. Did I tell you? It's free. Visit freetvfresno.com to learn more about free DTV.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill, Guzman, McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
Back here on the program on a Friday morning. The weekend is upon us already. Oh my gosh. Chuck McGill, the sponsor today here on Connect with Me on Me TV Fresno. Thanks to Chuck, McGill, Guzman, McGill, 25 years in business. Chuck is, he's 92 years young, so he's been around a long time. No, I'm just kidding, Chuck. I'm kidding. I thank you for your sponsorship. Chuck has a good sense of humor like Holly Carter does. You like that?
I do like that.
He's going to kill me when he comes in here next week.
Nah, he loves you.
Holly, you obviously the Fresno Business Journal extended article here on August the 14th. I'm going to hold that up just real quick so the viewers at home, if you want to go by and pick this up, you can. You had the 2 op-ed pieces in the Fresno Bee going toe-to-toe there with Pete Weber. You heard Doug Vagim's interview. He's gone toe-to-toe with City Hall. So let me ask you, when you say that our city's planning and permitting process has created unnecessary roadblocks to small business, specifically, what do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. I always love to see you and be down here with everybody. So what do I mean by saying that that the permitting process is creating roadblocks? It's a great question. And I think it's important to start with a clarification that it's the process, not the people. And I'm hopeful that as we continue this dialogue and conversation, as we move towards a more vibrant Fresno, which I know we will be, and we will get there, that we focus on that it's a process problem. It's not a people problem. And what I found in owning my own business and managing employees is that when we focus on the process, it sure helps move us forward a lot faster, because it's not about blame. It's about looking at where the gaps are and bridging those gaps and moving forward. So what I speak about is my own personal experience with dealing with this permitting process with my clients. And I'm a very passionate person. I feel that I've sort of earned the right to be that way. Just my background and as hard as I've worked in the Fresno community alone in the last 25 years, I am a self-proclaimed small business advocate.
And you've been a business owner for many years, too.
Yes, I have, and I've owned several businesses. I've always been an entrepreneur, and I love to be around and nurture people who are innovators. And the mayor is an innovator, and she's very much a visionary, and I appreciate that about her.
But isn't she part of the problem?
No, she's not part of the problem. Ashley is I was talking with some folks about this yesterday. The position of the mayor is not, you don't need to know how to run a city to be the mayor. What you need to have is vision and to be an innovator. And I think that what has happened is she's come into a process that's been in place for a very long time and done the best of her ability to try to thrive and move the city forward within the parameters of this process that's very archaic, that no longer serves us well.
Well, she put together this organization called BFF, Business Friendly Fresno. Talked to Doug Vagim about this, and you heard what he said. Basically, and I'm not going to quote Doug verbatim, but essentially, I mean, is this the front for what's going on? Is this just a facade? What is it? Is it window dressing?
I don't believe it's a front or window dressing at all. I don't doubt for a second the sincerity and the genuineness of the mayor. Gaps, and then bring forth resources of how we would go about solving them. Where I think the problem here lies is that we're trying to improve upon an archaic process that not only does it no longer serve us well, but it will never serve us well, because it doesn't fit who we are or where we're going. And it is going to be very difficult for the city of Fresno, anyone in leadership position, to accept the fact that the system we have, the processes we have, they need to be moved to the side, and we need to bring forward some very clean, innovative, lean thinking. And those systems are already in place. It's just a matter of implementing them.
All right, we have a caller on the line. Junis, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you for accepting my call, Mr. Mallis. I appreciate it.
Oh, good morning to you, and thank you for calling in. Your comment, please.
My comment is I have a slightly different perspective than maybe Mr. Vagim, because I am the agent who was representing the buyer for the Van Ness and Stanislaus service station. And the problems that we ran into while we were attempting to bring this together were extremely divisive, and in addition, there were a lot of things that the city did that was, I believe, designed for misdirection. They were saying at one time they were going to approve this, but there were some parking issues that we had to resolve, so on and so forth. We began to address that, and then eventually they got to the point where they said, no, we're not going to allow this to happen. So my concern was, and I brought this up to Bruce Rudd in a town hall meeting, I said, when the city has revitalization money, the Yosemite family shows up first, they have the largest bucket, they fill their bucket, there's nothing left, they go build their apartment complexes, and everyone else is left to sit on the sideline and watch our city slowly being pieced off to individual developers. I've been an agent in this town for a long time. I sold my first house in 1991, and I remember Operation Rezone happening. My personal opinion is that the city is being so rigid and unwilling to use its own bylaws that have been placed in their 2035 plan, which specifically states that if a property has been used for prior usage, it can continue to be used for that usage. The city's unwilling to do that, and in fact, at several points in time, the city asked me to contact the Yosemite family as if I had to get their approval for the service station downtown. And it was at that point in time I started to realize, why are all these billboards around town that say, let's talk about downtown? And then the lower right-hand corner it says, sponsored by the Yosemite, sponsored by Granville. Well, if downtown, which is a county seat, Fresno's a county seat, downtown's for everybody. It shouldn't be for a select few developers to go build downtown while the rest of us sit on the sideline and we can't do anything about it. I don't think it's fair.
Jonas, I am going to go to some pictures of a gas station on Van Ness. There are some pictures that we were sent to us by you. This is a gas station on Van Ness. Looks like it's abandoned. Now, what's the story with this? We have like 3 or 4 or 5 pictures of this gas station outside. There's the inside. Give us the inside story about someone who wants to purchase this, revitalize it, but there are some roadblocks in doing so because of the process that has been set up by the city. What's going on here with this gas station?
Well, in their 2035 plan, which I would like to note that when we began this process well over a year ago, and their 2035 plan wasn't even on the table at the time. So their 2035 plan states that that entire area there is supposed to be a cultural arts area, and they're going to have apartment complexes. So the city is unwilling to issue a conditional use permit to allow Mr. A. Stone to build a 4,900 square foot Whole Foods style grocery store with a small component of it selling gas as well. There was to be a 748 square foot patio so that there could be dining outside. The deli was going to be a high-end deli. They were going to serve beer and wine. So when my client went and met with Mr. Asimi regarding this, Mr. Asimi told my client, we don't need wine. We don't need beer down there. We don't need those types of things down there. So my issue is, why is one family feeling that they have the right to speak for all of us? I voted. I'm a voting member of our society. I served the Fresno Police Department for a considerable amount of time. I don't understand why that's being allowed in our society. And so for me,
wait a
the
minute.
issue goes back to the mayor.
Jonas, did I hear you correctly? Did I hear you say that Darius Asemi, a home builder, actually killed the process? He actually killed this deal?
I don't know if Darius Asemi actually killed the deal, but I know that he met with my client and informed my client that there does not need to be alcohol down there. The city's never going to let you do it. So then he offered to purchase that property from my client for $300,000 and something less than what I'm actually selling it for.
So you're saying that Darius Asemi, in your judgment, has so much influence in this town as a builder, all he has to do is say, no, I don't think you ought to do alcohol down there, and boom, it's done, it's killed?
I don't know if he has that kind of influence. I do know that that's what we want, and we can't get it.
Wow. So that's the story behind it. So where do we stand with that former gas station? Where do we stand with that project?
Well, right now my client's speaking to various legal advisors from out of the area because he doesn't feel he can receive a fair shake dealing with anyone locally. In addition, he's about to just put a fence around it, and we're going to see exactly what happens and how this plays out. It's very unfortunate that the city is unwilling to bend. I even went so far because I thought maybe I'm off the mark. Maybe I'm wrong. So I thought, let me go out, let me walk the neighborhood, let me talk to the people and see what they want.
Yeah, let's put up that picture of that gas station again.
I found that the people there said, we need a grocery store. Yeah. We've got enough apartment complexes. We need a grocery store. So I presented over 120 signed petitions from the individuals that frequent that area requesting that, and it still fell on deaf ears with the city.
Okay, well, you know, so this gas station is located exactly where? On what corner here, Junis?
It's at the corner of Stanislaus and Van Ness.
Yeah, I think I've driven by there. I've seen it. It's all boarded up. As you can see, the inside needs remodeling. And, you know, I don't know. You know, to try to sit here and think that one man, one builder in this town, and now it's Darius Assemi saying, hey, I don't think you ought to get alcohol in there, and it's not necessary, and boom, the deal's killed. You know, I don't know. It's a scary thought. I know that. And Junis Perry, I know you've been around the city of Fresno a long time. You're a former police officer. How long were you on the force, my friend?
I was a deputy sheriff in hand for approximately 2 years, and then I transferred to Fresno PD, where I worked at Fresno for over 13 years until my shooting at Roosevelt High School in 2008. April 16th of 2008, I went back to work for a year, where I eventually just medically retired out, so I could just go on with my life and begin to rebuild my life after all the devastation that was caused by the incident at Roosevelt.
Okay, and I remember that, by the way. And so right now you're doing what?
Right now I'm specializing in commercial real estate, primarily service stations, convenience stores, hotels, those types of things. It's a small company. My broker and I, we have property on the market from Fresno all the way up to San Francisco.
Right. Well, I appreciate your time, and thanks for sending us those photos of that gas station. Junis Perry on the telephone with us. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for your interest. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and stay safe, my friend.
You guys have a wonderful day, and thank you for bringing this topic up. I greatly appreciate it.
I appreciate it. We're going to continue here with Holly Carter. And Holly, you heard what he said. Junis Perry saying, hey, the city is throwing up roadblocks, and it appears, I'm not going to say for sure because I don't want to slander anybody here, but it looks like maybe one guy, one developer has a lot of influence in this town. That's Darius Assemi.
So I would like to redirect the conversation a little, only because I really can't comment on that. I'm not familiar with that part of what has happened. That's the first I've heard of that part of this story. However, I will tell you that I've been very involved with this story for many months, and I know an awful lot about it. And without even going in that direction, it's an incredible tale. What he said is true, that he has a piece of property that an owner wants to sell. What he did not mention is that the owner is going to take all of my understanding is the current owner is going to take the proceeds from this property and is going to donate it. So the owner doesn't even...
Hang on, caller.
So the owner doesn't even necessarily need to sell the property, but he's going to sell the property because as it sits now, it's vacant. It's creating a lot of calls for service.
It's an eyesore. There's
a lot of issues there, safety issues, and it just creates a problem for the city as is. So it was very exciting when the buyer came in and wanted to purchase the property and bring it back to life.
Revitalize it.
And like he said, reopen the gas station.
Have liquor.
And most importantly, put a deli on top in an area downtown where there's a lot of people who work. I don't know if you want me to finish the story now or if we need to take a break, but I've got more to share. Long story short, we're working on revitalizing downtown, and there's services that we're gonna need to be attracted to move downtown. And both the seller and the buyer of this property were very enthusiastic about doing that. You're talking about millions of dollars that are going to be invested, and jobs are going to be created in Southwest Fresno, an area that desperately needs it. What we were told is that the city did not want a gas station in the current location because of the new general plan update, and what they wanted was apartments there. Now, I may not be the smartest person in the world, but I can tell you that if I purchase a property that is a gas station with the intent of reopening a gas station and making it very high-end and a very plush, comfortable place for people to go who work downtown, as well as the local people who live there, and then put a deli on top where people can go and get really healthy, wholesome, fresh food during the lunchtime or whatever, dinner time, and I move forward. I purchase the property with the understanding that I'm going to do that. And again, we're going to reopen a gas station that already exists. And I go in not once, not twice, but 3 times. And this is my client, and I'm told, we want apartments.
Yeah.
So on the third time, my client's told, we want apartments, so here's what we've decided that you should do.
Caller, be patient. Hang on.
Here's what we've decided that you can do. What we want you to do is we want you to rip up all of the tanks, and I'm assuming that if it's a gas station, there's probably some contamination in the soil, so that means you probably have to have some specialists come out and clean up the soil.
Not probably.
Well,
You're
trying
going
to be
to
nice,
have to.
yeah,
I know.
trying to
You're
be nice.
going to have to do it if you got a
So
problem with the soil.
The property as is maybe around $750,000 or so, and it's I think his estimate was roughly going to cost probably about $1 million by the time he removes all of the equipment. And I could be wrong. I may be misquoting that number, but it was quite large to remove the tanks and to clean the soil, and then
There's going to have to be an environmental impact report done.
Well, but check this out. So then the property can be sold, but the value of the property after he's done with this is $150,000.
Right, and he spent $1 million to revitalize
it.
Right, I
As it is right now, it's a $700,000 piece of property if he does nothing.
Right.
If he does nothing.
He's got the tanks there.
But
the
they
ground
want
could be contaminated.
But
you don't know.
but if he does nothing, it's $750,000. So stay with me here. If he opens the gas station, they're willing to purchase it. They open the gas station. They invest millions of dollars into this area. They create jobs. They're stimulating the economy. They're providing goods and services that are desperately needed in Southwest Fresno. It's a win-win. However, because there was a general plan update that was passed last year, that area calls for high-density residential apartments, if you will.
I understand.
So, again, I'm a business person. I own a piece of property. It's worth $750,000. I've got a buyer. The buyer wants to buy the property and improve it.
I understand.
It's a happy day for me. It's a happy day for me. And I'm told once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, no, we want apartments there.
He is hounding me. He's like a hound dog. He wants me to take a break. We're way over, like 9 minutes over, and I'm trying to get Pete Weber on the phone, and I have a caller here. Caller, be patient. I got to take a break. I'll be right back here on the program talking to Holly Carter of Carter & Company. That's a public relations firm, talking about the city of Fresno. Is it business friendly or not? You know, this new organization, a couple of years old, is it a facade? Is it a front? What is it? I don't know. You call in. You decide. You're the viewer. You always decide. Back in just a moment after this message from Chuck McGill. Guzman McGill.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
Not sure what you're watching? Want to see what's coming up next? Or just want to browse what's on without the hassle of flipping channels? Your wish has come true. Now you can view schedules for all the digital TV channels available in the Central Valley. Get local weather updates and forecasts, and listen to nationally syndicated Biz Talk Radio, all on KVHF 4.1. Rescan your TV now, then tune in to Digital Channel 4.1 to start enjoying the all-new TV Guide.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill, Guzman McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
The other question we didn't touch on here, and Holly brought it up, and we'll touch on this, very little time left here on the program, and that is, if you are a business owner in downtown Fresno, are you going to get incentives from the city to improve or move in, as opposed to somebody who lives in northwest Fresno, southwest Fresno, southeast Fresno? I don't know. Let's talk about that during the course of this program. Pete Weber is going to call in, or I'm going to call him as well. Caller, you've been so patient. Go ahead. We're kind of tight on time, though. Go.
Yes, I worked for a local community, South Valley community, for over 30 years in the planning department. And what is really the most important thing is being upfront with the person. And when they come in, you tell them either you can or cannot do it. If you can't do it, you give them an explanation of how you can go about the process. Doesn't seem to be done in Fresno.
Yeah.
Also, one comment that you made about zoning versus general plan. State law requires that the general plan supersedes the zoning. So no matter what the zoning is, the general plan trumps it. So no, that's the other thing.
Okay.
I think this whole thing could be computerized, be done much quicker, and much more easier for a person.
Okay.
And they should be able to get their information back
All right.
within half a day.
Okay. Thank you very much for the call. So, you want to react to the call?
I had a hard time hearing him. If you could reiterate, I had a hard time
Okay.
hearing from here.
Well, he said he was. I guess he worked for the planning department. Did I get that straight, Ara? That's what he said. And his specific question was about the planning department.
About the process.
About the process in the planning department. That's what I thought.
And
I
the
caught.
question was what? What about the process isn't working?
What about the process? Is it
Okay,
working?
that's
Is
a
it
great
not
question.
working?
The
And the second part of that is, if you can keep your answer just a little bit short, because we're running so short on time. Caller, you're on Connect with me. Is this Pete?
Yeah, hey John, how you doing?
Hey, good. Pete Weber on the phone here. I got to put you on hold just for a minute. You're on the air right now with me and with Holly Carter, but Holly's in the middle of answering a question here. So what about the planning process, and are businesses downtown getting more incentives than those who are not located in the downtown area? Two-part question.
Okay, so let's respond to the first part. The first part is the question about what is it with the process, that's problematic. As I see it, based upon my experience for the last 6 years working in land use advocacy, or actually maybe more than that now, the problem is that there are inconsistencies given to the business owner when they go in to file for their conditional use permit. A business owner takes all of their life savings, many of them, small business owners, many of them do. They take all their life savings and they go down in the hope and the prayer that they believe in the American dream. They believe that anything's possible and that Central Valley, the American dream, is alive and well. And they go in and they take those hopes and dreams and their life savings and they say, I want to, I've purchased this property, I've opened this business, and I want to do X, Y, Z with it. I want to open a gas station, high-end gas station, and I want to put a deli on the top. And what happens is, and I'm just saying, it could be anything, right? It could be a restaurant, it could be a nightclub, it could be anything.
Okay.
So what happens is they're given a set of instructions, if you will. And the instructions have...
Hang on, Pete. I'll get to you in a moment. Go ahead.
The instructions have gaps in them. And these are the gaps in the process. And what happens is, what I like to refer to it as the whoops. The whoops happens a lot. And
whoops, we forgot about this.
Whoops,
we forgot
you
about
need
that.
you need a drain if you're going to do this. Whoops, you need an extra bathroom. We forgot to tell you about. Whoops, we need,
An extra pipe, yeah.
sometimes there's been construction that's happened, and you can't just easily go back in and replumb things. And what happens is that people already have to begin paying rent on these properties that they've purchased or they've leased. They have to begin paying rent. They can't even open for business.
All right.
And we're talking about a process that as the caller said earlier, or somebody said earlier that the goal would be, or business friendly Fresno says that we can issue your permit in 1 day, but we're looking at 60, 90 days, 6 months, a year, and we're not having the permits issued.
We're running short on time. I got to get to Pete. Pete, I know you're there. Turn him up so I can hear him. Pete, I wanna put up a graphic of Pete Weber. It's the Pete Weber graphic, because I want to put some quotes up on the screen of what you told the Business Journal, or what you actually told me the other night on the telephone when I talked to you. Holly says the city's planning and permitting process has created unnecessary roadblocks to small businesses. Here was your reaction when I talked to you on the phone the other night. Holly is way off base, I'm afraid. I've explained it to her. I've explained the whole Fresno business-friendly process. We turned around how the city responds to business. We are very friendly. We have streamlined the process with a development review committee to bring all of the departments involved to discuss the client and what is required. Pete Weber is on the phone, the chair of the business-friendly Fresno task force. Pete, go ahead. Your response to Holly's comment, and what did you mean specifically when you talked to me on the phone the other night and gave me that quote?
Yeah, first, let me say, Holly's a friend, and I don't take public gifts of friends, but just based on what I just heard.
Pete, hang on a second. We can't hear you for some reason or other. I don't know why. Go. Redo, Pete. Go ahead. Start from the beginning. Yeah, you're on the air.
Hello.
You're on the air.
Hi, Pete.
Hello, John. Can you hear me?
I can. Go. You're on the air.
Yeah. Let me first say Holly is a friend, and I don't favor public tips with friends, but just based on what I heard Holly say in the last few minutes, I'm really disappointed that she would be making the kinds of statements that she's made today. Just what I just heard in the last few minutes. I'm calling in because, I think she's doing a tremendous disservice to the city. And, friends aren't friends unless you can tell them when they're wrong, and I'm afraid Holly is dead wrong on this. The reality is that the city of Fresno is now doing an excellent job in permitting businesses. There's a lag sometimes between reality and perception. The reality is the city is doing an excellent job. You can look it up on the city's website. Just Google business-friendly Fresno. You'll get all the statistics on how promptly we are permitting businesses. The city is doing an outstanding job. I would challenge Holly to name one city in the state of California that is doing a better job of permitting than the city of Fresno is doing today. And I don't know why she's on this, except for I know one particular client that she has that expressed some unhappiness. I can explain that situation completely. To the best of my knowledge, Holly has had no engagement with the city on the city's business planning permit in the last couple of years. I heard her reference 60 years that she's worked on this stuff. I don't know what happened 6 years ago. I'm sure it wasn't pleasant, but I know that in the last couple of years, the city has been doing an outstanding job. And, we really do a disservice to the city when people like Holly get out there and paint the city in such a bad light. It's just
Pete,
totally ignorant.
Pete, let me interrupt here. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, let me ask you a question. We had a caller call in, Junice Perry, earlier and say that the person who wanted to buy that gas station at Van Ness and what was it, the corner of Van Ness and Stanislaus. Okay, there it is right there. They wanted to put a deli in and serve liquor. And home builder and developer Darius Assemi, who has influence in this town, said, no, I don't think you got to put liquor on there, and that's why the deal was killed. Did that actually happen, yes or no, to your knowledge?
That is BS. That is absolute, total fabrication. What's going on is the city of Fresno is actually working with a local developer who is very interested in putting in a very, very nice mixed-use development in that area, which, we think is exactly the right thing to do in that cultural arts district instead of putting in a gas station on a corner when there's a million other gas stations in every corner in Fresno. That's just a totally inappropriate use of that location. So let me just add to that, John, that you can take any one isolated incident and blow it up totally out of proportion, which is, I'm afraid, what Holly is doing in this instance, instead of looking at the big picture. And if you look at the big picture, again, go on the website. John, you can access the website, and your callers and your listeners can access the website and look at the quotations from testimonials from people, big and small, architects, engineers, developers, who are saying this new approach that the city of Fresno has taken is absolutely outstanding.
Okay, stay there, Pete, because I want to continue talking to you. I'm going to let you respond, Holly, but I got to get this in before we run out of time. We're going to go straight to, we only have 3 minutes left in the show? You got to be kidding me. Okay, put the graphic up real quick. 4 different categories of projects. The graphic, where is it? I need to get that. There it is. The 4 different projects.
That quote is kind of important. You might want to have.
Okay, but that's the wrong one that I called for. That's not the one. I'm going to get to that, but I'm calling for the 4 different projects. We're running short on time. Okay, how complex is the applicant? Straightforward, approved, over the counter. That's number one. These are the four.
No.
Okay, but this is what Pete Weber gave me. Number 2 would be a restaurant with a liquor license. Number 3 would be a strip mall, the full-scale development, homes on a river park type project. Then let's go to the next one. There it is. U.S. Small Business Administration. The 2015 list says out of 100 cities around the country, Fresno ranks 96th on the list in how City Hall treats small business. Wallet Hub not only analyzed small business, the business environment here in Fresno, but also assessed friendliness toward employees and job seekers. 96 out of 100. Pete, can you respond to that?
That data is dated. I'm telling you, we started this process 2 years ago. The data that they are using is data that precedes that. You have to look at the current data. The current data is on the city's website. Look it up. We've got 100% on-time permitting for level 3 projects. We've got 100% on-time for level 2 projects. On level 1, we've gone from 50% to 88%. Most of the 1 applications are now being processed for counter.
Pete, wait a minute. The organization Business Friendly Fresno was created in 2013. Put that up again on the screen. This says the list comes from a 2015 list. This is after that organization was formed by the mayor.
What I'm saying to you is that they're dealing with old data. They don't have data that dates back. But we put these, obviously we started this process. We put some of the recommendations in place in 2014. The rest of them have been put in 2015. The one thing that's lagging is technology, because that always takes time, but there's going to be new technology that's going to blow people's socks off. But, the data that they used is based, it's old data. And unfortunately, 4 times, by the way, I was able to get on.
Stay there, Pete. We got 2 minutes left. You want to respond to anything here, Holly?
I would love to respond. First of all, Pete.
Remember, we only got 2 minutes
Pete,
left.
I also consider you a friend. My response to what it is that I've just heard you say is that while people may believe something doesn't make it true. I can tell you that I work full-time in the trenches with small business owners, and I can tell you that I have not had one experience in the last 6 years where any of them, not only did they not get a permit issued in one day, most of them it took well over a year, and sometimes their EIR expired and they had to start over again. So I could list off at least 10 examples right now, which we don't have time to do, so I won't.
But Pete has also said go to the website, and he has numerous testimonials.
And that's the other thing I want to say. The testimonials on the website are not from small businesses. If you're a large business, you have figured out how to navigate through, and thank God some of us have the ability, the money, and the horsepower to navigate through. Small business owners don't. I'm one of them. I represent them. I work with them, and I'm saying this is not a people problem. This is a process problem, and something needs to be changed.
All right, Pete, we got 30 seconds left, or I'm going to get cut off. You got the last word, my friend.
You're dead wrong. Those
30 seconds, quick.
No, look at all the level 1 projects. Those are all the small businesses. Okay, so look, Holly, to the best of my knowledge, you haven't been at City Hall in the last 2 years. If you have, I want to know when and who you spoke to, because I don't have any.
Okay, Pete Weber, thank you very much, the business-friendly Fresno Task Force Chair. Quickly, about 5 seconds. You want to respond to that? Quickly, 5 seconds.
It's called lean leadership. Everything I need to know about lean, I learned in kindergarten. I encourage all of the elected officials to pick this book up and read it. This is the answer, folks. And Phoenix does it better.
All right.
He wanted it. He wanted the name of a city's Phoenix.
All right.
Phoenix does it better.
Out of time. Holly Carter, thank you. Pete Weber, thank you. Doug Vagim, thank you. Junice Perry, thank you. And thank you to the callers. Have a great weekend. Back on Monday with Skip Essick. Remember him? Once the voice of KMJ, now the voice of 1680, I believe. See you Monday. Have a good one.